Hi, all my beautiful friends. I am feeling a little under the weather. I actually don't feel sick, but I sound really sick. It's bizarre. I am in my pajamas. It is my birthday. I hope you can overlook it, but I thought I would film and get ready with me because I did this one look where I did a full light baby pink eye using my Berries palette from, what is this, Beauty Bay? These palettes are fabulous. And this one is the all pink one. So I wanted to show you this look because I think it is, I just must have stuck my finger in this one or something happened. I think this look is so beautiful. And if you're a little intimidated by like colorful looks, I feel like this one will be the look for you. So if you're new, sorry, I'm like all distracted, but that's the fun of just like quick get ready with me's. They're not too super serious. This one, I'm going to do a little trigger warning. I already filmed this, but something happened to the volume on the video. I don't know how to fix it. It's just not there. So it's just me talking with no volume. I'm just taking my nose ring out. I always do. So I'm a little aggravated, but I feel like it's something that if I don't get it off my chest, I'm going to do something I'll regret. And I've been playing with this something I'll regret for a while. So you guys have been, a lot of you have been watching me as I'm talking. I'll start getting ready. A lot of you guys, and I get very close to the mirror. I do apologize. I am not the best at this because I can't see anything, nothing. And I've never even considered contact lenses. So if you're new to my channel, my name is Charlie. If you are returning, welcome back. That's all I need to say. These are the types of video I do. I do not do anything professional and crazy. If this is your niche where you like something a little more relatable, then this is the place for you, because nothing here is overly edited, overly saturated, overly like complicated. It's just normal. So I swear I feel fine. I don't understand what's going on. I'm just going to start with my upper area so that I can clean anything. Just making sure I didn't need to shave anything. Weirdly enough, I haven't been using moisturizer under my foundation. The reason being, and this CoverGirl, oh my God, it's so good. CoverGirl Outlast Extra Wear Transfer Proof. I will link it. It is beautiful. Because I noticed that I don't get oily at all anymore. I moisturize really, really well at night, and then I don't moisturize again. If you are struggling with that, I'm sorry. Also, you're at an angle. Again, I can't see to put you in front of me. I'm trying, but this is a get ready with me, not so much a tutorial till we get to the eye part where I'll really show you. So, I don't know what I was just saying. Oh, the moisturizer. I'm not a very oily person. I'm kind of like a little bit of both. Actually, I don't really have dry skin. I'm not going to lie to you. I get a little tiny bit oily. But I noticed since then my makeup lasts hours. Hours and hours and hours. It looks the same. Now, if I'm having an extra dry day, I'll put a little bit extra moisturizer on, but not much. Okay, so let's get into what the hell has been going on. It just resolved itself, but it was a major stressor. Okay, so I'm not going to get into any type of graphic detail. It does contain domestic violence and the worst case scenario with domestic violence. So basically, over the summer in June, my husband and I got a letter in the mail from the state of Pennsylvania. I don't know the correct terms without the paper in front of me, but I guess it was like a victim's advocate, and my hair isn't done either. Today's my birthday, and I'm just doing me, and I wanted to film this. I'm just doing a little extra coverage, but I'm doing like quarter pumps, not even full pumps. So we get a letter in the mail from Victims Advocate. My husband's father killed his mother. It was very violent and graphic and very, very horrific. And it wasn't like he did it fast. It was a horrendous, horrendous way to die, and it haunts me, literally haunts me. And I try to keep her alive in my house because I always feel like she sent her son to me because she couldn't protect him while she was here. here. So in many ways, I just always feel like fate brought us together. And now I'm going to just clean out off my eyebrows just a little bit. I noticed this helps with the eyebrows looking a little bit more put together. I overly trimmed them, so they're not looking the best. Nothing has changed with my eyebrows. Same ABH powder and e.l.f. brow gel. I actually might have to open up a new one because I think I finally demolished this one. So he killed his wife, my husband's mother, while my husband was there. And I truly believe the only reason my husband was kept alive was because of an insurance policy that would have made them very well off. My husband's mother was an IT tech in the 80s. I have to get even closer. I'm so sorry. I can't see anything. She was an IT tech in the 80s. So if you don't know, like, back then, that was a very, very good job. And her life insurance policy was upwards of like $350,000. So just imagine what that was in 1983. It was a lot of money. Her father was a very high up captain for the Harrisburg fire company. So they were well established in the community. He also went on to be the mayor. Her father, my husband's grandfather, he went on to be the mayor for a local town here where we live years ago. He's passed away by now. He's passed away, but he was. So all this transpired. His mother was killed, and the husband went to prison. Yes, his father went to prison. It's very hard for me to talk, like, I guess it would be like in third person kind of. So we get a letter in the mail. Oh, wait. Yeah, we get a letter in the mail, and then I'll go back to the one thing saying that he is going for clemency, not even an appeal. And I don't know if there's a difference, but in my opinion, isn't clemency like you would be wiped of all of the charges and appeal? I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm not really like educated on it. And not to mention, it's still a very sore like subject. So I'm not going to bore you to death with everything. I'll just do my eyebrows and then I'll show you the look and then I'll come back with the finish because this story is going to be forever and I hope it's not too long. So we get a letter that he's going for clemency. So a couple years back, I'm going to say my daughter was young. We reconnected with his father's side of the family, who he did have a relationship with. There's his aunt, his grandmother, and a few cousins. Well, he hadn't talked to them since he was a very young boy because of circumstances that happened that were their fault. And we reconnected with them. And I should have took it as a red flag when all they did was badmouth his mother. And I was a very young woman. I was very naive. I wasn't like I am now where I would have shut that down immediately. I never believed them, but I never understood where the beef was coming from because I had a very good relationship with his grandmother on his mother's side, and I loved her very much before she passed away, and she was very important to us. Sadly, we didn't get to say goodbye to her when she passed away because of other family members. It's just been a nightmare. So we reconnected with them. They came and visited us once, never really contacted us again. And then it turns out that the aunt and grandmother had gone privately to my husband without my knowledge, asking him if he would mind writing a letter to help his father get out of prison. And I kept asking my husband, like, why won't you contact them? And he finally told me, and I was like, yeah, this is not going to happen. No one's going to take advantage of my family. When I tell you, I am a very, very passive, very like much Gandhi, peace and love type of person. I don't go looking for confrontation. I very much am politically correct, and that can call me a sissy or whatever you want to say. I do not like hurting people's feelings. I will never disrespect somebody unless you fuck with my family. So what I decided to do was keep them on Facebook to keep an eye on things that were happening because, in my opinion, they're not safe people. So when this letter came, I thought, you know, these son of a bitches could have at the very minimum have contacted me and said, hey, you might get a letter from the state of Pennsylvania stating that my brother, my son, your husband's father is possibly going to go up to the governor for clemency. That way I was prepared. We were prepared. But I panicked when it came, and I took them all off and blocked them on Facebook because I thought, if this son of a bitch even is considered to get out, you're not going to see what my daughter looks like. You are not safe for the community, in my opinion. If you would kill someone that is the mother, gave birth to your child, forget it's your wife, she gave your child life, and you're okay killing her, get real. You're never going to see us. So we called Victims Advocate. My husband was very upset because the saddest part of it all is we didn't even know his mother's own birthday. Like, we didn't even know her birthday. We knew nothing about her. You know what? I'll do my bronzer after. We knew very little because it was so hard for his grandmother to ever really talk about. Let me set my eyes. I'm going to just conceal and set them, and then we'll get on to the look that I want to show you. Okay, I am back. Am I recording? Yes, I can't see, like I said. So, real quick, I'm going to show you. The colors I'm going to use in here are this color right here. Let me make sure you can see. This light color, these light colors, in case you want to recreate it, and maybe these light colors. Maybe this one, and even this one. Now, I know you're looking at it like, girl, those are light ashy pinks, but it's going to work out perfect. So, I know this video might get flagged for, I'll age restrict it if it does pose a problem, but I feel like domestic violence is, they say it takes 7 times for a woman, maybe a man, I don't know, but for sure a woman, to get out of a terrible situation. And when they finally do decide to leave, that is the most dangerous time for them. It is also one of, if it's not the number one, it's one of the most dangerous calls for police. It is not a joke. And if you are in a domestic violence situation, seek help. And if you don't know how, I don't know how I could help other than maybe reach out and I can look up resources in your area, Google it. Just please know that you do not need to stay. I know there is financial abuse, there is parental alienation, there is you weaponizing your children. There is so many ways that people end up stuck and can't get out. And I understand it. I am not the one to play when it comes to domestic violence or abuse. I do not think it gets me very upset. And I have like a visceral reaction because of everything that's happened. So we call, and I was going to redact the names. Is that the correct word? I'm going to go into Curve, which is this light pink right here, and just start all over the lid. I wasn't going to say names, but they were found guilty and convicted. So I'm not sure. I'm just not sure yet. So we called Victims Advocate. First of all, I don't even know if that's the correct term, but anybody that works in Victims Advocate, you guys are just incredible because it is so hard and so difficult to have to help people that you might not even know how to begin to help them, rape victims, you know what I mean? And I used to go to CARA, which was for crisis, I don't remember the acronym for it, but it was for, it was other women that were in domestic violence, rape, you know, those types of things that would counsel other women. And I had the most incredible woman. She was just, so we called, we said, hey, you know, we're calling about so-and-so looking into clemency, and we are like really upset about this. He was convicted of first-degree murder. We don't understand how he can even apply for clemency. And she's like, well, it was the male secretary first. He's like, well, let's just call her Julia isn't in the office. I'm just still staying in that one color. I'm just keeping this really low. Julia's not in the office. As soon as she's available, she will call you immediately. And boy, she called immediately. And we explained to her what was going on, that he apparently was looking to do an appeal or clemency. And what do we do? She said, first of all, there's so many steps before he would even see a judge. She said, and the biggest step is he has to go in front of the governor. And she said, and our governor doesn't play. Like, he wants to hear from the victims. He gives the victims a voice, and he wants to hear, and he heavily relies on the victims' opinions for these things. She said, well, you know, and we're like, can you get us his mom's birth date? Like, we don't even know her birth date. And she was like, kind of sounded almost like heartbroken over the whole thing. So she says to sit tight. And of course, if we did have to go through court, they would prep us and prepare us. And she gave permission for me to speak on behalf of my husband, because my husband is, you know how like they say there's lab husbands, German Shepherd husbands, pit bull husbands. My husband is usually ready for a confrontation, but he like turned into like a little kid. And I'm like, you know what? He's like, the one thing about you, he's like, you watch so much true crime and you are so like smart with this stuff. He's like, if it wasn't for you by my side, I might collapse dealing with this. I'm like, don't worry about it. I got this. I'm not scared of shit. I'll do it. So she called back. She got the information she needed from us. She said they would prep and prepare us, but not to worry too much because it's not likely that it will go too far. And you guys, this might sound so selfish of me, but I thought about it. All that fucking money his piece of shit grandmother and aunt put into this appeal, because I'm sure they had to pay lawyers and all this shit, could have went to my daughter's college education. Like, you could have spent that money on anything, donated it to women's shelters. But that you're convinced that this man is, after he's been in prison for 41 years, is not guilty, is, you're not people I want around me or my daughter or my family. And I've worked so hard to get my husband to a healthy place. I know that sounds crazy, but when you have a broken person from years of abuse, and that he's as successful as he is such a testament to our marriage and not giving up on people. And trust me, there were times where it was tough. The cause and effect, I don't think parents that do shitty things understand. Like, I know you want instant gratification, whether you have drug problems or alcohol or abuse, like, but you don't understand the cause and effect, the butterfly effect that it has on your children's life. And if you do and you continue, then there's something even more wrong with you. So because of this, my husband was immediately adopted because he was very young. He was adopted by a great aunt. In the first 7 years of his life were fantastic. They were wealthy people. His adopted father worked in Target's little girls section marketing. So he would travel. He would do everything with them. Like, at first his life was fantastic. And then it turned out that these pieces of shit, all of them, to be honest, they all failed him. His grandmother and aunt from the father's side were sneaking my husband, because it was court ordered. He was never to see the father. Were sneaking him off and told him he was visiting an uncle in a warehouse. Well, my husband was getting ready for baseball because he was very big into baseball as a young little boy. And he was about 11 years old. And he was rifling through a trunk in the parents' room. I'm not really sure what he was doing. But kids are I don't know. Kids go through everything. That's what being a parent is about. And he found something with the picture of his biological father. And he asked his adopted parents why they had this. And they said, do you know him? Why would you even ask this? And he's like, yes, Lisa and Grandma take us kids to see him. That's my uncle. Well, after that, my husband never knew he was adopted. Nothing. He thought his adopted parents were his biological parents. They decided that was the right time to tell him he was adopted. And all of his behavioral problems started from there. They ended up stealing all of his inheritance and sent him away to the Elan school in Maine, which is one of those wilderness schools. So he was there up until 2000, I believe, when he turned 18. that in and of itself is such a scary story. When he tells me things that happened to him, it's almost unbelievable. Like, you almost don't believe it. So I blocked all the family. And the truth is that lucky for us, it never went through. It never got past the first stages. He will not be getting out of prison. And I hope he dies there. I hope that he suffers with what he's done. The lives he ruined, it's just sickening to me. And I truly, truly believe that my husband would have died that day had there not been the thought that there would be an inheritance. So this is what I'm doing. I'm just building up this color. So yes, that's how we spent our summer. Lucky for us, everything worked out. And I would have fought it tooth and nail, you guys. I would have went to court. I would have went up against his grandmother and his aunt. And the truth is, I think about every day writing a letter to his aunt. And listen, I am notorious for letter writing. I don't know. I'm not the best verbalizing. But give me a pen and paper, and I will either write you the most beautiful love letter or I will shred you to pieces. And that's how we reconnected with his grandmother on his mom's side. Remember, I said I had a good relationship with her, but at first I didn't. She was very judgmental of us because my husband did have a lot of hardships. I mean, could you imagine living that life? Why would, it's just not good. And I wrote her a letter, like, telling her, listen, we are changing. We're going to break this cycle. And if you want to be a part of it, great. If not, then tell us now. I mean, I'm sure I said it in some more choice words, but I never curse and I never name call. But I've been considering writing a letter from the day this happened, the murder, and writing down the cause and effect of everything that her brother and her son did, that what all these, because of his actions, what has transpired and happened to my husband because of them, and then explaining explicitly what happened after they kept sneaking him to see my husband's father, and because of their going against the courts, what ended up happening. Yes, I do think they're responsible because you did something you shouldn't have. Other people punished and took it out on my husband as a little tiny boy, and his life was ruined as a child. He doesn't have good memories, if he has memories at all. And then he spent 4 years in a wilderness school where they just threw him away. Get the fuck out of here. And I would love to tell them exactly what happened to my husband, because it's brutal and it's graphic and sad. So I don't know. This is what we were dealing with. I am very happy to report that it is in fact not gone through, and he will in fact remain in prison, a ward of Pennsylvania. Now, I thought that, I love this pink. I was under the impression that Commonwealth meant you spent your natural life, and I guess you can appeal, and I'm sure they spent a pretty penny appealing it. Like I said, that could have paid for their granddaughter's college, but they're so selfish and want to get out this abuser. And let me tell you something, I was fearful. I never let my husband know how fearful I was because he didn't need the extra stress at the time. But my thoughts were like, what if he got out and came looking for us? You know, you don't do something like that and it's a one-off opera. You know what I mean? It's not, I know that some might not agree with me. But yes, I think about Tammy all the time. That's his mother. I think about her all the time. I keep pictures. I always think about like what her birth was like and how much she wanted to be a mother and how short of a time she got and how young she was. I think she was only 23 when she died, and how that fear of wanting to protect your child because he's in the room when it's happening, because my husband was in his crib while this was happening. And if for people who want to say, oh, that's too young to remember, our body remembers trauma. It remembers everything. Just because our mind doesn't, it does not mean our body doesn't. And my husband to this day, still lives in survival mode. Everything is. Everything is fight or flight for him. Now, I'm going to share this because I think it could be helpful for others. What saved my husband's life other than consistently sticking by him and helping him, and I'm not saying my husband did anything bad to me. He just had issues. He has never put his hands on me, not even once. Trust me, I would never have put up with something like that. When he had been through so many different medications, trazodone, it was not, we did Lexapro for a little while, then we did no medication, and it just wasn't working. He didn't know how to balance things, and he didn't have the tools to deal with things properly. And he got on a low dose of Prozac, and it saved his life. I am a little fearful of those types of medications because they can be very difficult to get off of, but we trust his family physician. She is very good to him, and it has changed my husband's life. And this is why 5 years now, his career is where it is. He is possibly going to become an engineer, go back to school to become an engineer. He has a brilliant mind. I'll tell you, that's what makes me madder than dog shit, is that he's got this brilliant mind. He's smart like his mother. I mean, his mother had to have been smart to be an IT tech back then. And what pisses me off is, like, had anyone realized the potential there and really honed in on that, like, he could have been a damn neurosurgeon. He's so smart, book smart. He just can't regulate his emotions, and he very much feeds off of other people's emotions, especially mine, which can be very hard on me too, because I have learned, and it's probably also a trauma response from some things that have happened to me. I have learned to stay very stable because I never had a stable environment. I never knew what type of personality my mother was going to have. I'm not saying I'm not perfect. I definitely have some ups and downs, but I try to I want my family to always know what to expect when it comes to me. I'm the same person always. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not saying my daughter doesn't get in trouble because she is a brat. She's 18 years old. But I try to stay stable because I know that's what my family needs. So yes, that's what we were dealing with. I'm very much grateful that it didn't go through. And this is the whole look. I'm going to do a black eyeliner and show you. I can't see how long I've been talking, probably way too long, but I do want your opinions because I feel like a lot of you have been watching me long enough. Would you send that letter? Would you write it and send it and tell her? Or would you just not give them the satisfaction? I don't think they give a shit about us. I think the whole time that was their end goal, to get us on their side. And when they started bad mouthing his mother, I was like, yeah, no. Even though my husband doesn't know his mother, I feel like I do. I don't know how to explain it. I feel like she had to have sent him to me because in many ways he has saved me too. I don't want you to think like I'm some savior complex. We saved each other. We have been together for 19 years in a couple of days on the 18th of December, and we have saved each other. We were kids together. We grew up together. We raised our daughter together, and then when my mom died, he took my sisters in as his own. Like, he has a lot of wonderful qualities. So don't get it wrong. He couldn't be more different than that piece of shit sitting and rotting in jail. Guys, I've even considered going and visiting his father. I would never let my husband do it because I think my husband wouldn't be able to control himself and it would destroy all the progress we made. And I wouldn't want to see my husband regress at all. But I've considered it because I feel like you're not going to like me coming, friend. I am not a nice person. So when it comes to my family or people that I even remotely care about, I am fierce as hell. Let me tell you, I'm not the one. And I feel like I got that from my grandmother, that like very much matriarchal, the women have to be the strong ones. And it's difficult sometimes because you want to be vulnerable, but it's also teaching my daughter that she can do and be anything. She's even considering Coast Guard, you guys. I'm so proud of her. She has the world at the balls. Well, is that the right word? The palm of her hand. And she literally is such a smart girl, and I would never subject, we didn't even tell her. I would never subject her to this, because if she read, because all the court transcripts are online, and everything that happened in graphic detail that night is online, and I've read through it. And even though I never met her, just knowing that I am married to her son and that happened to her that night, the fear, you guys, oh my God. And not even for yourself, for your child. The piece of shit couldn't even take the baby out of the room. And her father, my husband's grandfather, oh my God, that poor man saw her like that. I just like, why would you even want that person on the street? So I'm going to collect myself, because it's something that can make me very upset. I'm going to finish up my face, finish up my hair, and I'll show you the final look. And I do hope that if you're experiencing any of this, I don't want to trigger anything for you. And if you can't get out, I understand right now. You got to do what's safest and best for you. And any woman that's like that gets out or what does, women are the most brave, powerful beings in the world. Like, I am very much a girl power. Okay, you guys, so this is the end of the get ready with me. This is how I finished up. I just blended a little more. I did eyeliner. This eye waters so bad. I've been using eye drops, Pat a day. But if anyone has any, sorry for the background, it's a little messy. Why is my eye constantly watering? If I lay down, it waters. It doesn't matter what I do, my eye waters. It is driving me nuts. I've changed products. I have changed powders. I've tried everything. I can't stop the eye from watering. On my lips, I have Skinny Dipping from Wet n Wild. And my lip liner is NYX Nude Beige. Just in case anyone wonders, I am kind of getting away from the warmer tones on my lips and getting back into the more neutral and cool tone. Blush is One Size Beauty from what is this? Patrick Star Attention Seeker, and that's what the highlight is. So I am gonna go get my meatballs cooking for dinner. I like them to cook for a long time. And I'm sorry if today's video was a little heavy. It's just something that, like, sometimes you got to get it out. And it's like, my husband isn't very reactive to what's going on because, one, of his medication, and two, because it's just such a difficult thing. And I just, like, I guess it's nice to see, like, when you watch a true crime video and you hear these horrendous things, like, the one commonality in the comments is the outrage. Like, how can this happen? How can this continue to happen? And it's just important to have community. It really is. So I'm sorry if this video was a little heavy. If you are in need of speaking to anyone, I know I'm not like a licensed therapist, but you can certainly message me. Probably on Instagram would be the easiest way. And just stay safe. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys. I don't know where the hell I'm looking. It's a new, I just don't know where to look.